Historically, the nuclear energy sector has faced a notoriously stringent and expensive obstacle: regulation. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission (NRC) processes were historically so lengthy and capital-intensive that they essentially stalled new American commercial nuclear development for decades. But the market narrative is experiencing a massive shift. The artificial intelligence revolution has forced a reckoning. Tech hyperscalers are demanding so much continuous electricity that the legacy power grid is experiencing unprecedented operational strain. To address this, the industry is watching closely as regulators attempt to modernize their frameworks for next-generation technology. The upcoming NRC Regulatory Information Conference on March 10th serves as a major focal point. While it is strictly an informational event rather than a rulemaking session, Wall Street is treating it as a critical barometer for how the agency plans to handle the incoming wave of micro-reactor applications. Right at the epicenter of this shifting sentiment is Oklo, ticker OKLO. They are bypassing the concept of sprawling civic megaprojects in favor of designing decentralized commercial reactors explicitly aimed at powering the AI era. Today, we are tearing apart their underlying physics, their massive big tech funding agreements, and the harsh financial realities of this clean energy proxy. To understand why institutional capital is flowing into this specific company, you must examine the foundational physics proposed for their flagship product, the Aurora Powerhouse. The Aurora is designed as a sodium-cooled fast reactor. This is a radical departure from the technology that powers the grid today. Traditional legacy plants rely on light water reactors, which require massive hyper-sure containment domes and continuous access to millions of gallons of water to keep the core cool. They are incredibly complex feats of engineering, built around managing extreme internal pressures. Oklo's design aims to fundamentally eliminate the need for water cooling. Instead, the Aurora relies on simple metallic heat pipes and liquid sodium to passively draw thermal energy away from the reactor core. Because this system is designed to operate near normal atmospheric pressure, the risk of a traditional pressure-driven containment breach is fundamentally minimized. This elegant thermal management is designed to provide inherent safety features. In theory, if the facility loses all external power, the reactor is designed to safely cool itself down through natural physical processes without human intervention. Furthermore, the fast neutron design targets running efficiently on its advanced fuel for up to 20 years without needing a single refueling outage, aiming to act as a long-term, standalone battery for high-demand industrial sites. This technological theory was given massive commercial validation in January 2026. Oklo signed a landmark funding and power prepayment agreement with Meta, aimed at supporting the future development of a 1.2 gigawatt power campus in Pike County, Ohio. It is crucial to note that this is a funding mechanism for planned capacity, not a completed construction project. The facility hasn't broken ground yet, and this ambitious target remains subject to massive regulatory and construction milestones. However, the agreement features a vital prepayment mechanism, providing Oklo with upfront funding to secure nuclear fuel and advance the complex pre-construction and permitting phases immediately. If successfully completed, this would serve as a foundational infrastructure initiative designed specifically to feed Meta's regional operations, which includes their ultra-dense AI superclusters. What makes this proposed Ohio campus truly disruptive is the financial model driving it. Oklo intends to operate on a power-as-a-service PHS framework. When they eventually deploy to a site, Oklo plans to retain full ownership and operational control of the Aurora powerhouses. Meta does not want the liability of becoming a nuclear utility operator. They simply want to purchase the carbon-free electrons at a predictable rate, by aiming to sell the power output rather than the physical plant itself. Oklo is attempting to establish a massive recurring revenue stream with long-term margins that mirror a software-as-a-service model rather than a traditional heavy construction firm. While the proposed Meta campus aims to secure the demand side of the business model, Oklo is aggressively planning to secure the most difficult aspect of the supply chain: the fuel. The Aurora reactor is designed to run on high-assay low-enriched uranium HALEU. Historically, the global supply of this specific enrichment level has been dangerously reliant on foreign state-owned enterprises, creating a massive geopolitical vulnerability for the entire advanced nuclear sector. Oklo's proposed solution to this bottleneck is highly ambitious. They have laid out early plans and projected costs upwards of $1.68 billion to design, build, and operate a state-of-the-art nuclear fuel recycling facility in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This proposed advanced hub is intended to take spent nuclear fuel from the legacy commercial reactor fleet and chemically reprocess it into fresh, usable HALEU for the Aurora Powerhouse. By aiming to close the fuel cycle, Oklo wants to transform what is currently viewed as a toxic liability into a highly strategic domestic asset. However, it is a highly ambitious proposal that still requires extensive NRC licensing, capital, and technological validation before it becomes an operational reality. If they can successfully execute this proposed facility, they will drastically reduce their reliance on third-party enrichers and achieve unprecedented vertical integration. To fully grasp Oklo's unique position in the market, we have to look at the boardroom. The company is chaired by Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. This is not just a ceremonial title, it fundamentally alters the DNA of the organization. Traditional nuclear companies operate like slow-moving defense contractors. Under Altman's guidance, Oklo operates with the velocity and capitalization strategies of a Silicon Valley tech unicorn. This connection provides Oklo with unparalleled access to the highest echelons of venture capital and big tech decision-makers. When you are attempting to sell a billion-dollar energy solution to hyperscalers like Meta, having the architect of the AI boom leading your board provides instant credibility. Altman understands exactly how much power these data centers require because he is the one building the models that demand it. This bridging of Silicon Valley software ethos with heavy nuclear hardware is a core reason why Oklo has been able to secure massive funding and hyperfal partnerships well before a single commercial reactor has been turned on. It is time to rigorously examine the downside. The bear case for Oklo is rooted entirely in the brutal reality of the execution death valley. As an investor in this stock today, you are buying into an entity that is currently generating exactly $0 in commercial revenue. Their Q3 2025 earnings report served as a stark reminder of this reality, posting an EBITDA loss of $36.2 million as research and administrative expenses naturally ballooned. The company is burning substantial amounts of cash to fund their ambitious vision, and meaningful commercial revenue is not projected to hit the income statement for years. The ultimate test of their survival is the planned deployment of their first-of-a-kind Foch reactor at the Idaho National Laboratory, currently targeted for operations by late 2027. The history of the nuclear renaissance is littered with startups that promised cheap, fast reactors but were ultimately derailed by severe cost overruns and engineering delays during their initial physical build. If Oklo experiences a major technical hurdle, a localized supply chain breakdown, or an unforeseen regulatory delay at the Idaho site, the ripple effects will likely push back the timeline for the planned Meta campus in Ohio. You are betting on smooth execution in an industry where delays and budget overruns are historically the norm. Oklo is attempting the most audacious energy pivot of the 21st century by completely reimagining nuclear power as a decentralized, recurring revenue service rather than a sprawling civic megaproject, with an arsenal of roughly $1.2 billion in cash and marketable securities reported recently. They possess the financial fortress necessary to survive the pre-revenue wilderness without constantly seeking dilutive lifelines. If their first of-a-kind reactor achieves criticality on its targeted schedule and their Ohio campus breaks ground, they could legitimately become the foundational infrastructure layer for the entire AI economy. However, if the NRC review process elongates or the engineering scales poorly, that massive textile valuation could face a severe reality check. Are you buying into the Aurora ecosystem, or is the timeline execution risk simply too steep for your portfolio? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, check out the Ko-Fi link in the description. Remember, this is not financial advice. You're watching Stock Teller, where every ticker has a tail.